Welcome everyone to the Year 1 Faculty Career Session for Science and Engineering students. We're going to focus today on making the most of your first year. And for some of you, this might be your first interaction with the Career Service. And if so, I hope this will be the first of many when we come into contact with you throughout your course. What we're hoping to do today is give you a flavour of both what you can expect and what you need to do to get you in really good shape for making those all-important career decisions over the next 3 to 4 years. So without further ado, let me start by saying this is us. We are your Faculty of Science and Engineering careers team. There are 3 of us here today, so we'll do some very quick introductions before we get into the content. So my name is Helen Frost. I am one of the careers consultants, but primarily I work with the disciplines of mechanical, civil and aerospace engineering, and also maths. Colleagues, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hello folks, my name is Ben Carter. I am the careers consultant who looks after chemical engineering, chemistry, electrical and electronic engineering, and physics and astronomy.
And I'm Penny Gordon-Lanes. I look after computer science, earth and environmental science, fashion, business, technology, and materials science and engineering.
Thanks, folks. So you know who's here today. Feel free to say hello to us if you see us wandering around. But another reason why I've put this slide up here is I'm hoping some of you may be on LinkedIn already. If not, it's one to note down as an action. Please do set yourself up with a LinkedIn profile. We're not going to talk about that loads today, but there are lots of resources on the Career Service website if you do want to follow a step-by-step guide to setting up a LinkedIn profile. But what I would recommend you do is maybe just take a screenshot or a photo of this slide and connect with all of us on LinkedIn. It can be really useful. Between us, we have tens of thousands of connections. And so by connecting with us, you're actually growing your network and you'll be able to see a lot more. So yeah, LinkedIn is probably the first thing on your list. But as I said before, just pop and see us whenever you spot us on campus. So this is what we've got in mind for the session. We've got a set of learning outcomes here. So by the end of the session, what we're hoping is that you'll know how to seek support from your career service. You'll know what we do and how to contact us. You'll also start to think about how to reflect on your graduate skills, and we'll give you a tool to support with that. You will know where to look for experience. We'll talk you through a few websites that might be specifically for first years or ways to boost your skills for your CV. And then finally, we will think about what employers look for in the graduate job market. So all those lovely transferable skills. So let's start with a quick overview of who we are and what we can do to support you over the next 5 years. And when I say 5 years, what I'm including in that is that the Career Service will support you for 2 years after you graduate. So it doesn't stop as soon as you leave us after your final year. Who do we support? Well, really, the answer is everyone. We pride ourselves on our non-judgmental and confidential approach, and we will do our very best to advise you or signpost you to whatever your query is or whatever your concern involves. And everyone has a unique starting point. We're very aware of that when you're thinking about careers. If you would like to scan the QR code, and there will be a number of QR codes throughout this presentation, or click on that link, you will be able to access targeted information and advice about maybe signposting to specialist organisations for support, learning about particularly proactive employers who would welcome you into their organisation, and also access specific information about internships if that's relevant to you. Also, just worth saying at this point that we offer 60-minute career appointments that are booked via Career Connect, and they are specifically for students who may be disabled, neurodiverse, or have a long-term health condition. That's just to give us a little bit more time to go through some specific queries or concerns that you might have. So please do feel free to book one of those. And so that's who we are and who we support, but what do we do? So there are a number of different things that fall under our remit. I guess I've mentioned already appointments, and I've mentioned them in the context of disability appointments, but actually we do appointments for a large number of different reasons, whether that's to have your CV checked, whether you would like an interview simulation if you have an interview coming up and you want a bit of practice and a few tips, and a number of other appointments. They are bookable through Career Connect, but also we run faculty drop-ins, which is where we position ourselves on campus, normally in the Nancy Rothwell building, and you can just pop along and chat to us about whatever is on your mind. There's no need to book those. We also pop up every now and again in timetabled sessions within your curriculum. So watch out for us. Probably the next one that's going to come up for you is in the first semester of your second year, called Managing My Future. So we normally run those in the first couple of months of your second year. So please do come along and join us to meet lots of employers and hear from us about what you need to do next. Also, you'll see on this slide that we run a variety of different events and fairs, which you will see on campus, but also virtually. We run workshops to help you develop your skills that are required for the future, whether that's things like resilience or communication skills, or actually more specific to a recruitment process of how to do well in an interview, psychometric tests, all of those great skills that you will need. We have lots of support and advice available around placements and internships. So feel free to come and chat to us at any of our drop-ins if you are requiring support with sourcing placements or internships, or the recruitment process maybe that is involved with that. And then finally, we've got on here pathways. So on Career Connect, we have a number of step-by-step e-learning guides, that is the best way to describe them, where you can just work through in your own time a variety of topics. So one of those is specifically for international students, maybe navigating the visa process. There are a number of others to do with skills and lots of other topics there. So I've also included on this page a QR code, because that's not everything we do. If you want to find out more information and other things and ways that we can support you, click on that QR code and it'll take you through to our careers service website, and lots of great information on there. So as well as the career service website, where else can you look? Well, I've mentioned a couple of times already, we've got our platform called Career Connect, and that is our portal for searching for work, whether that is part-time jobs, internships, placements, or graduate roles, and also volunteering and other short-term work experiences. You can also on here register for events and book careers appointments. So if you haven't already gone onto Career Connect, I'd recommend that you access it now. And I'm just going to talk you through very quickly what you will expect the very first time you log on to Career Connect. What we would recommend is, once you've accessed Career Connect, you may be on a device. So if you're on a phone, then you might want to save that to your home screen so that you can easily access that in the future. Or if you're on a laptop, then you might want to save it as a bookmark or a favourite, just so you've got easy access in the future. So when you log on for the first time to Career Connect, and you'll log on with your usual University of Manchester student ID and details, the system will ask you to complete a few short questions, and that is to set you up with your profile and to register you on the system. So maybe take a moment now just to do that, because we will be coming back later in the session and get you to do an activity within Career Connect. So if you maybe do that while you're listening to the next few slides, you'll see some screens similar to those on the screen now to set up your profile. You will also be asked about your, what we call career readiness level. So whether you are at the point of exploring, preparing, or maybe applying for jobs, it'll ask you to choose a few occupational preferences, and whether you'd like to be alerted by email. So that can be really handy, especially if you're looking for internships or placements, because you'll get that regular reminder, that prompt in your email inbox of some of the jobs that might be appropriate for you to log on and apply to. So when you're all registered, this is the page that you'll see in Career Connect. So you can see there's those icons across the top. They tend to be when you've registered for something like an event or an appointment. But actually, how you book those things or how you search for those things is via the navigation bar at the top. So you either click on search or book, and you'll see a number of different things to choose from there, whether it's vacancies, whether you want to search for organisations. And there's a great filter on there where you can see where organisations might be based, so you might know who to target. Also, you can search for and book events through this navigation bar, the pathways that I mentioned before. So do have a bit of time after today to have a proper look around and familiarise yourself with that. So we'll come back to Career Connect later, so please do keep it on your device open if you have done that already. And we've discussed all the things that we can do to help you so far, all of the events that we put on and that sort of thing, and how you can access the online tools and resources on the Careers website and Career Connect, which are two completely separate tools. But if you just actually want to see a human being, we do have a physical presence on campus as well. So you may have found us already. We have a careers desk, which is on the first floor of the University Place building. It's called the Atrium, and that's staffed between normal working hours, Monday to Friday, in term time. So if you've just got a really quick question or you're not quite sure where to start, do pop along and chat to our colleagues there, who are always really happy to help. So now I'm going to hand over to Penny, who's going to talk you through thinking about your career options.
Thank you, Helen. So next we're going to start considering where your degree might take you. When it comes to career options, you may all be at different stages, and certainly by the time you're in your final year, some of you will have used all of the resources, taken all of the support available, attended lots of careers events, and probably had an internship or two to build your experience or in other ways. You may have a really clear idea about what you want to do next, and that's absolutely fine. Some of you will be unsure about what you want to do and may have prioritised your studies, and that's absolutely fine as well. However, around now in your first year, you might be thinking about the explore stage. So this is the business of getting started and building up your awareness of what's out there and what you might want to do before those next steps. Year one is the building blocks for what comes next, and it really is about getting experience and understanding your ideas and what's out there. Here are some of the most common sectors that our FSE students enter as graduates. So for example, there's consultancy or the energy sector. There are many fields of work that welcome numerate backgrounds, and that comes with your degree. So whatever discipline you're studying, there are lots of opportunities open to you. If you want to explore your options further, there's a great online resource called Prospects. We think a lot of the job profiles on here are really helpful. They talk about the skills, entry requirements, and salaries as well. So you can use this resource in order to do your research. The what can I do with my degree area is also really helpful, and it gives you some inspiration on what you can do with your discipline. So reflecting on your skills, we think this is really important. And we actually have a tool for this, which I'll talk about next. So feel free to follow along with this. It may take a bit longer to do the actual exercise in your own time. It takes about 15 minutes, but I'll just take you through the steps so you know what to expect when you log in. So the QR code on this screen takes you to Career Connect. This is our platform where you can use our resources, book appointments, and as Helen said before, use the different resources on there, the pathways, etc. So this is the skills section, and because we're talking about reflection, this is one of the key tools we would encourage you to undertake. So it's a skills assessment, and it asks you to rate your abilities in various areas. So you may have done this before in the foundation year, but you'll see there's some good reasons to do this again because your skills do change over time. In the questions, you'll be asked to rate yourself in 10 different skill areas. And as I said, this will take about 15 minutes to complete. So you don't need to do this now, but you can log on to the resource and do it when you've got a bit more time. When you complete the questionnaire, the assessment, you'll then get a kind of profile which talks about your areas of confidence and skill. And these are the 10 areas that you'll see that are assessed. This produces a map for you to have a look at. So you'll see your skill ratings over the assessment and how that changes over time. So the graph here actually shows the assessment being completed twice, once earlier on in the year one, and then again towards the end of year one. And it shows the development and progress and distance measured over that period of time in that skill area. So we do encourage you to complete the skills audit, perhaps at the beginning of your course or at the beginning of a project, and then repeating the skills audit again at the end of that time to show your distance travelled. I'm going to hand over to Ben now to pick up building skills and experience.
One thing you can guarantee is that everybody who leaves university will have a degree. And so we have a few pointers for how to build your skills during your time at Manchester so that you can set yourself apart from some of your competition when it comes to the applications you're going to make along the way. That can be broken down in a few different ways, but in brief, there are two main routes we want you to consider. One is what you might think of as the formal route. These are the things you've probably heard of before. And the big ticket items include things like taking on a placement year. And all of the different departments within the Faculty of Science and Engineering now give you the option to take a placement year in one form or another as part of your course. It may be a formal part of your course wherein you'll get it as a named aspect of your degree by the time you graduate, or it might be something you can build in as time goes on. It's a fantastic opportunity to add 12 months of paid experience to your CV. And it's something we thoroughly recommend if you can fit it in. It doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes you might just want to get done with your course and get out into the world of work. But if a placement year comes your way, it's a good thing to consider. The other thing you may well have come across is the idea of taking a summer internship. Many larger firms offer them, and it may be worth also approaching smaller companies that you become aware of, because they may never have considered taking on an intern before. Maybe you will be the first one. So it never hurts to be speculative in your approach to this. Alongside that, many of you may be thinking about how you're going to support yourself during your studies, and taking on part-time work could well be part of that. Now, we have resources on our website. We link to the Students' Union Job Shop as well. So all of these things would allow you to build out your CV in different ways and appeal to as many different employers as possible, because these are some of the most well-known ways of adding formal experience to your CV. But what else is out there? Well, this comprises what we like to call a portfolio route. And there's a lot on screen at the moment, things you could choose from to build out your CV even now in year one. And again, some of those things may be very familiar. There may be things like joining a society or a sports team, volunteering your time, or becoming a student rep or an ambassador, for example. There may be things you can't do just yet in year one, like becoming a pass leader or a peer mentor, but they're things that you can easily build in as you progress with your degree. Things which you may want to take a look at, which are specifically aimed at year one students, though. You may never have come across insight events before, but many companies offer these because so many of the more formal opportunities ask you to be at a later stage in your career. We're thinking in the penultimate year of your degree, usually. So insight events are specifically aimed at those who are before that stage, and they give you a small opportunity. Usually in the spring break is when they often run, but not exclusively. And if you wanted a chance to just see what a company is like, to see what they do, Well, the clue is in the name. It gives you that insight into what their operation is and maybe what more you could do with them in the future. So it's a good way to get started. Likewise, many Insight events run online. They're virtual opportunities, and virtual internships are a thing. We have a page for this, including for micro internships. That is to say, they're online and they're also only about 2 weeks in length, done part-time at a time that suits you. So these may also be useful ways to fit in the kind of experience that would suit you best, or to try and build out your CV in new directions, to plug a gap perhaps that you feel you're going to get as you go on through your degree. If you wanted a page which will summarize these things, particularly for those of you in year one, then this page here will do just that. And you can find it if you go into the jobs and experience section of our website and scroll down into internships, and you'll find opportunities for first year students. One dedicated resource which we often recommend to people when they're looking at their options with science and engineering is the website called GradCracker. And one unique aspect of that, which we don't tend to see with other online resources, is that GradCracker has a couple of filters within its internship page, which allow you, as you can see on screen here, to filter for things which are open specifically to first year students, and also for those Insight events which I mentioned before. So if you're looking for something which will just allow you to cut through some of the noise, at certain times of year there is a lot suddenly advertised. So to avoid having to go through every single one of them and decide, is this suitable for me, scan this QR code and it should take you straight to the filters, which will allow you to see exactly what's available on GradCracker for those in your year group. In terms of what else we have coming up, there are things to consider in semester 2 this year. We have our Dive Into Your Future event on the 10th of February, which just allows you to explore, again, some of those options to build out your CV and talk to the people that offer them. There's also various other things running that day in terms of understanding other opportunities available around the university and maybe even picking up some freebies along the way. There are, as has been mentioned, careers fairs which run at different times of year. There will be one this summer, but before then, there's the Careers in Maths and Stats Fair, which runs in the Alan Turing building on the 18th of February. And even if you're not part of that department, you're still welcome to go along and meet the employers. That's one of the most useful aspects of careers fairs, is going along and talking to the people offering the work. Again, getting their insight into, is this something which is open to you, something you might want to consider? Just trying to rule things in or out can be a useful aspect of a careers fair. Alongside that, the first of our careers clinics, our CV clinics, will be running on the 18th of February as well, and that'll be in the atrium in University Place, where we have our desk. Alongside dedicated events, we have a running series of drop-in sessions. Helen mentioned this before, and we realize that sometimes it's difficult to grab bookable appointments when they become available. And to try and get around that, we run a weekly drop-in session in the Nancy Rothwell building. It allows you to, as the name suggests, just turn up and ask questions. Really, there is no need to have material prepared. We're trying to dispel the myth that you have to have a direction in mind, that you have to have a specific query or worry before you show up to see the career service. That's simply not the case. If you just want to sit down with us and talk through what your options are, the single most common question brought to us is, I don't know what I want to do. So if that's you, please come and ask us that question. It's one we like to tackle every week. With that in mind, let's wrap up here. Let's bring us back around to some of the key messages from this session, the things we want you to take away and work on after today. Ultimately, it's about being proactive. It is unlikely that things will just happen. It is useful to start doing that for yourself. So if you want to find making a graduate job easier, you can start that now. There are small actions you can take in year one that will give you big advantages. And with that in mind, here's where you could start. Get familiar. You're already doing this. You're watching this video. You're becoming familiar with the tools and information that are out there. Just knowing that there is a careers service is part of that effort. We also want you to go back to that skills auditing tool. Reflect on the skills you're already building up. You may feel like you already have a strong sense of this. If you already have aspects of your CV with which you are very familiar, then you may be used to reflecting on it. But if this is a new experience, use that tool, please, and keep coming back to it so you can see the distance traveled. bear in mind as well that the university invests in certain resources that you can use to add to your skill set. LinkedIn Learning is one of those. But you'll find within the transferable skills section of our website, there's a whole set of other resources for being able to access online learning. It's a common feature of people's CVs these days. Speaking of CVs, do keep looking for and applying for opportunities to build your CV, to add to your experience, and to keep building in those things which allow you to stand out from the crowd and to have useful things to talk about when you get to interviews. That moment will come when people are asking, okay, tell us about your time at university. What did you do that most interested you? What did you like most about your degree? We want you to have things to talk about there. There's other things to bear in mind. There are always deadlines. There always will be, but knowing when those fall and knowing when some of the busiest periods are for recruitment, which tend to follow the start of each university semester, these are things that you can stay on top of then. You can also get work done ahead of time to set up alerts through Career Connect, through GradCracker, through any of these things. We also try to make opportunities available to you through our socials. So please do follow us on Instagram. Do come and find your careers consultants and the rest of the careers teams on LinkedIn as well. You'll also be hearing through us by email. There are newsletters which show up, which should be appearing in your inbox at least on a weekly basis. So do keep an eye out for those. We'll try and curate those to make those emails the most relevant they can be to your discipline and your degree area. Finally, don't forget to ask for help. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign that you need help. Simply asking somebody else for their opinion is a useful way to explore. So please come and find us. It could be us. It could be your network. It could be friends and family. It could be academics, your lecturers. But ultimately, we want you to seek out help if you need it. And we are one source of that help. So let's review. Let's go back to where we started. We hope that by listening to this video and following up on some of the resources, scanning those QR codes, opening those links, you now have a better sense of how to seek support from the Career Service. We hope that you've made a start on reflecting on those graduate skills you develop as you go through your degree. Ideally, you should have a better sense of what your options are to build out your CV and where to find options to add experience. And hopefully a sense of what's useful within that CV to the graduate labour market and what employers will be looking for when that time comes. Thanks very much for listening to us. We hope you have all success through your degree, and when the time is right that you'll come and find us, access the Career Service, not just now, but in the future as well. Thanks very much for listening. Bye for now.